welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We're running a little bit behind because, once again, I'm having technical issues with Zoom. So we're back on StreamYard again tonight, but we're ready for some Star Wars. Episode 3 of our campaign that we've been playing through, called A Grave Resolve. Tonight's issue is called, Jeremy knows nothing about what the hell he's doing. No, tonight's episode is called Shadows Within. And we are going to bring a close to all of the events and the questions that have been risen throughout the first 2 episodes. So I'm very, very excited to get back into this. I cannot wait to chew through the content that we have planned. So before I get started, I am going to go ahead and warn that even though Star Wars doesn't typically contain profanity, this game very likely will, and it's probably going to have some subject matter that might touch on the mature and dark. If that's the kind of thing that bothers you, then go watch something else. Sesame Street, perhaps. So I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can do their introductions, and then I'm going to share the link out so that we can get started. So first up, I've let him lead off every other introduction, so why not this one as well? Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy. I'll be playing Old Cap, a clone who's managed to survive for this long, and we'll see if I can survive the night. I don't have any channels or anything, so we'll pass it on to Casa.
Hi, I'm David L. Weaver. I am playing Casa Dune. As you last found out all about my backstory last game session. Pretty much I don't have anything to plug. I am an artist, but you can check me out on my Facebook page. Pretty much if you see this face and these books behind you, you've come to the right place. All right, I'm going to pass to the person below me, Taylor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor. I'm playing Nadia Holt, who is a little sassy and a lot of trouble. Pass it over to Sixer.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve. I'm playing Sixer, and I don't have a channel to plug right in a second because it's on hiatus, but I will say that you should be on the lookout for an upcoming project from Jerry and myself. So we'll drop some more teasers as we go along, but keep an eye out.
Hey, Jason, TD&D DM here from Twitterverse, and I'll be playing Braxis, Zabrak torn between the light and the dark, and we'll see how that kind of turns out.
All right. It says, it looks like I'm lagging a little bit, but hopefully I'm coming in clear enough for you guys to get me. So, if everybody is ready, any questions at all before we get started? No, cool. Ready. Stars spatter the black canvas of space as it stretches away into infinity. A throaty engine growls as a small fighter enters the frame. Little more than a cockpit, fitted with a large laser cannon and a massive engine. It rumbles past as we cut to inside. Bathed only in the red of the console's many lights, we see a Trandoshan pilot preparing to make the jump to hyperspace. We pull focus over his shoulder to the unconscious figure in the co-pilot seat. Even with a bag over their head, the figure's elongated neck and slender build betrays their species. We fade through the blast shield window and back out into space. An enormous asteroid now rolls into view to reveal Tohad Mining Station. The music intensifies as we close in on the station, and the further we zoom in, the more we become aware of explosions and blaster fire being exchanged. There is a battle, and it is on the move. So, the 5 of you. The assault on the Poulos family mansion has failed. What's worse, one of you, if you would please, tell me how you discovered that your target, Tia Pam Banla, was no longer there.
During the fight, I would say Old Cap got knocked unconscious and woke up in a field to see the vision of the girl he's been seeing every night in his dreams. And as he's sitting there in the field, she walks up behind him and said, "She's gone." And upon waking up, he lets the rest of the crew know that he believes that she is no longer in the mansion.
You hear Nadia on the comms. Cap? Well,
Yeah.
at least someone else is alive. That did not go well.
No. I think they slipped her out somehow.
You don't say. Come back to the ship. I'm sure we can give a little bit of chase. Although, it's not going to be easy.
I'll start making my way back.
We see that the crew has been divided. The 5 of you are split on 2 different speeders, and you're racing through the streets of the city that kind of populates this asteroid. And in hot pursuit of you, there's nearly 24 Poulos family thugs that are on their way behind you. As you are racing towards the hangar where the gift is parked, each one of you, if you would please, describe a moment that things get a little close.
So I think during the I don't want to say running away part, but the running away part, I would imagine just like when we were on the weird beasts on Camino, that Nadia and Sixer are probably near each other. There's probably a lot of her yelling at him to do things that he's maybe not exactly quite capable of doing, and a lot of him yelling back that he's not designed for that. But I think at one point, Sixer tries to make this very swashbuckling move, and he pops up on the speeder and turns around, so he's facing backwards towards the pursuers. The speeder on autopilot. Autopilot not being the best thing in the world for dodging pedestrians, is just barely making it around these drug peddlers and fruit vendors. And Sixer has been blasting away at these people that are chasing him, and we finally see him line up the shot. The camera comes down, you see it goes right down, and right before that trigger is pulled, we hear this loud metallic clang as something hits Sixer in the back of the head, and he just goes ass over tea kettle into the street, sparks flying, speeder goes careening off and around a corner somewhere. And he gets up with this like look of where am I mixed with I kind of meant to do that as he brushes himself off, looks over at one of the drug sellers and goes, I'll be and he starts running down one of the side alleys, hoping that if he cuts off at an angle towards where the ship is, that perhaps he can link up with somebody else on a speeder.
There's yelling over the comms. Sixer, you useless bucket of bolts! You were supposed to be driving this thing! And the meow of the speeder, and it like pulls up in front of you. Get back on!
So yeah, he'll Sixer will climb on and maybe not inappropriately, but in that sort of scared way, hug Nadia a little bit tighter, like I don't want to fall off again, sort of. But that only lasts for a split second before he's having to use both her blaster and his blaster intermittently over his shoulders to try and get these two pursuers to stop following them. I mean, doesn't have a chance of hitting them, but there's a lot of, the very effective stormtrooper type firing going on in that direction.
I think that Nadia's point is, as this speeder has been careening that she was riding on, because Sixer was supposed to be piloting, and it begins careening towards a building and around a corner, and she's frantically trying to turn it off autopilot. She hates flying this thing, and turn it around, and there's that moment where she's headed straight for the wall, and then up. The bottom of the speeder skimming along the wall face.
I don't believe these are designed to do this.
Well, you're not designed to do a lot of things that you still manage to. We'll be fine.
Old Cap's making his way back, and as the house guards are looking for him, he jumps behind one of the counters of the drug sellers and lands right beside Boro. And good to see you. Can I get some more death sticks? I'm getting low.
Old Cap? Is that you?
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
Camino.
He kind of looks up at the sky for a second, kind of with this confused look on his face. Yes, death sticks. Hold on. And he kind of turns around, and you hear the pool of thugs kind of double back, and they're looking for you, shouting outside of the shop as he's looking for death sticks. They're here somewhere. Hold on.
Yeah, and he'll just keep his head down till they pass by. And instinctively, he's drawing in the dirt on the ground the symbol of wounded soldier that we would leave for the other clones during the war. And as they pass by, he'll say, "How much for this time?"
It's going to cost you 100 credits.
Fine. He'll pull out the money and just drop it and grab them, light one up, and when it's safe, he'll keep on running to the ship.
Yeah, hey, you're welcome. He calls after you.
I think Casa's moment happened actually back at the house itself. As they were infiltrating, things got hairy, and his good old fun-loving pal Nikit saw him. And she did that whole, as they were making their escape with whatever they were making their escape with, because Casa didn't get to see it. She hollers at Casa and basically tells him that she's got her eye on me. knew I was a worthless sack of shit, and said that she would leave a surprise for me, or a departing gift as she left. As she basically threw a bomb in the room. Unfortunately, it didn't catch Casa, but it caught the old Cap instead. And with that, she said, "I'll be seeing you soon." As they depart, and Casa ran over to repair old Cap, and we got the hell out.
So as Praxis sees Nadia sort of sliding her speeder to a halt to grab Sixer and get him back onto it, he's coming around a corner, so almost an intersection of where they're at, and you see him sort of slide his speeder in between theirs and the oncoming guards on their speeders, and he would like to unleash some force lightning on them to try and slow their pursuit and aid his allies in escape.
Absolutely. Tell me how you fry some of these clowns.
Yeah, so initially as he's coming in, he's sort of bringing his speeder in between the two of them, his vibroblade in hand, and as he comes to a stop, he's deflecting the blasters bolts that are coming towards them, and he looks over to Sixer. "Get on her speeder now!" And he just reaches out like this, and you see this sort of purplish lightning emanate from his fingertips towards the speeders that they're closing in on everybody, aiming for the speeders rather than the pilots.
Yeah, so the lightning leaps out of your hands and it kind of arcs from building to building, kind of in this somewhat narrow street. Signs are exploding and there's sparks going everywhere, and they kind of arc down the street straight to the engine lock of these speeders, these two that are kind of pressing the advance on you, and instantly like their hoods just like fly up, and there's smoke and sparks and fire that starts streaming out, and they careen off course and kind of collide with piles of trash that have been left behind. One of them actually careens into the side of a building and explodes. You can hear that there's still several out there that are pressing in on you. You've narrowed down their numbers, absolutely, but there's still over a dozen of these people that are hunting you. So the five of you make your way as quickly as you can to the hangar bay where your only escape off of this rock is Sixer's ship, the Gift. You round the corner, and some lackey who's supposed to be keeping control over this bay steps in your way to try to slow you. Excuse me, you can't be here. You easily blow past him, and you get into the hangar bay where there's several other ships as well as the Gift. But there she is. She sits there waiting for you, and you know that it's only a matter of time before your pursuers are here.
Well, please don't wait for an invitation. Everyone get on board. And Sixer's going to move rapidly that direction.
Yeah, getting on the ship.
Yep, Nadia
Who is the
also
last?
goes to the ship, goes to the turret.
Who is the last person to board the ship?
Praxis would be the last one.
Braxis.
Praxis would be the last one.
Braxis, as you are going up the ramp, you kind of cast a look over your shoulder, and you see that the Poulos family guards have begun to pull up, and they're deploying not quite with the precision of stormtroopers, but close to military style formations. And you notice that They bring out this large tripod and start bolting it to the floor, as you're fairly certain the box beside it contains an E-Web heavy repeating blaster. One of these boys. Did it come up? Maybe.
There it is.
Oh, goodness. Sorry for the lag, everybody. So, you see them set out a tripod and begin bolting it into the concrete of this bay. And they start getting this gun, this turret, ready to sit on top of this tripod. Nadia, you said you head towards the cannon.
I do.
Okay, excellent.
Before the door shuts, I'm going to throw out a frag grenade at the cannon.
Excellent. Okay. So this is going to be a throw roll.
Okay.
Which is dexterity, I believe.
Yes. And remind me, because we haven't done combat yet, I have a three dice code. Is one of those dice my force die?
Yes. Always except for damage.
Okay.
And if that die and only that die rolls a 6, it explodes once. And you can roll it again.
Okay. I did roll 6 on the force die. Then 2. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 total.
Okay. And that's against their dodge, which that beat them. So now you're going to roll damage for your frag grenade.
Okay. Which that'd be 12 total.
Okay. So you throw this frag grenade out there, and they're able to see it, and they leap away as far as they can or behind stuff to try to protect them as best they can. It bypasses their soak, but only by a single point. So they take 1 point, which means that they are, I think, just winged, basically. It's like a minimal wound kind of thing. Okay. So as Old Cap does that, what are the rest of you doing?
I'm going to attempt to force pull the repeating blaster before they get it mounted onto the tripod.
Okay.
Like pull it and just throw it back towards the ship.
Okay. That's going to be control. Is that control?
Actually, alter.
Alter. Yes. Move objects. Yep. Okay. Your grenade stunned them, Andy.
Okay.
It's a 23.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, you grab this case that's kind of sitting next to this tripod and pull it up into the air. And as you do so, the case kind of tumbles at the end of this long connective cord. But out of it comes the actual turret itself, this massive piece of plasteel. And as soon as you've got control of it, you fling your hand away, and this thing flies yards away, kind of careening and clashing into the side of another ship. And and before it clatters to the floor and comes to a stop.
And then I move towards our ship.
Yep. Anyone else?
So as soon as Sixer is 89% confident everybody's on board, I'm going to do a very abrupt takeoff, not the normal slow get out of here. I'm going to just essentially punch it. And hopefully by now everyone's sort of used to Sixer being kind of erratic when pressed and piloting.
Yeah, so
you incoming agility rolls.
you fling yourself into the pilot seat, basically hit the ignition switch and start yanking on the sticks trying to get out of here. And you almost immediately, somebody hails you on the console. Excuse me, and they give your identity that you gave them, the false ID. Right. You have not been cleared for takeoff. As a matter of fact, you have been flagged. You're going to have to land and disembark your ship.
Well, now I can't rightly land until after I've been up to be able to come back down. That only makes sense, right? So we'll be seeing y'all in just a few, and then just.
All right. So yes, let's get a piloting roll.
Yeah, we should do that.
And I'm going to take a die away for this roll.
That's fair. Come back, die. I needed you. Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to replace it using a character point.
Fair.
Ooh. So 10 plus 4. So 14. Could have been better.
So it's certainly not the cleanest takeoff that you've made, but it's the cleanest takeoff that you've made today.
Right. Also, historically, while under fire, duress, and a slight case of schizophrenia.
Absolutely. And you can tell that to the members of your party as they peel themselves off of the back wall of your ship on the inside.
I like to imagine the equivalent of a fasten your seatbelt sign comes on now.
Yes. Now that the gravity is kind of kicking in so that the floor actually becomes the floor.
Right. It's the initial ding.
Yep. Absolutely.
But yeah, and as we do, and as the gravity kicks in, those who are trying to move will feel the ship as it does that sort of spin, right? As I'm trying to put the armor towards where I believe whatever sort of planetary, air quotes, guns would be preventing us from leaving. And so we're going to corkscrew essentially out of this, and at a very rapid pace. Probably for most people, much more rapid than you've ever ascended before. And I'll just make apologies for it later.
The rest of you are indeed unceremoniously tossed about the interior of this ship. But soon, again, the artificial gravity has kicked in, and you are able to right yourselves. And you watch as laser stretches of light kind of shoot past your ship on both sides. Everywhere where there's a window, you just see that you're in this kind of this cone of these streaks of light as the planetary defenses definitely do try to shoot you down. But with Sixers, will be nice and say erratic, flying has kept you from getting hit. And the shields, though close to giving out, managed to hold. Soon, you are out away from the Sagan belt entirely, out in an uncharted part of space What would you like to do?
That went bottoms up.
Yeah. I'm looking at Old Cap. How is his wounds?
He's fine for now. It's probably going to take some time before he's completely knitted up, but you know that, especially for an old clone like him, it's probably not going to slow him down at all.
Okay. I'll leave it be.
So then, what is the plan?
Praxis, if you're gonna do your thingy.
Is his thingy that big? I just mean that space is very large.
Oh, that thingy. No, I think he's got decent range.
You know, Force users are very capable at disabling droids. So I'll throw that out there.
I just need a good blaster.
I don't need oxygen.
Time's a ticking.
So
Yeah,
can I reach out in some fashion to see if I can figure out where this girl was taken?
You absolutely can. Please roll.
I'm going to spend the force point to double the die.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. Force die exploded. So that'd be 10, and doubled would be 20.
So, Braxis, to everyone around you, what does it look like as you reach yourself out like this, stretching far beyond you probably, further than you've probably ever stretched your mind before?
You see him sort of sit down onto the floor, and as he sits there, he places his palms flat onto the flooring of the ship, and little arcs of purple lightning sort of reach off of his hands, almost like static electricity building up as a soft glow starts to emanate from his hands. And if you could see under his mask, his eye rolls back, and he just sort of almost just sits in a trance-like state as his hands create this sort of soft purple glow between them and the flooring of the ship, almost as if he's reaching his grasp and his fingers beyond the hull out into the infinite beyond to find this girl.
That's what the rest of you see. Braxis, you yourself become transported. You find yourself not touching the flooring of a ship. You are touching stone. Old, worn, cold stone that has been here for countless ages. You can smell the smoke from burning incense. And you know, just by sound alone, where you are. You have spent hours in this room, but this particular hour that you find yourself revisiting is the one where you were no longer alone. You could feel the presence approach from behind you through the doorway into this small part of this temple before you ever heard him. And when he spoke to you, almost as if he spoke directly inside of your skull. Why have you come?
To find the girl. I think I might need your assistance.
As always, my student. Do you recognize where we are?
Given as much time as I spent here, yes, I definitely recognize this place.
You know of its significance.
Of course.
You also know it is not the only one of its kind. But there are many such places scattered throughout the corners of the galaxy.
In my studies, I do know that the Empire was once vast.
The Empire is paltry compared to the power of the dark side. The Sith's control dwarfs that of any military. One such sacred place is where you will find this girl who has gone missing. There is a moon called Duxton. It orbits a planet known as Onderon. It is there you will find your quarry.
How important is she to our cause?
I do not yet know. If I have need of you, I will call.
Very well, Luke.
Just like that, Braxis, you find yourself kneeling once more inside the ship. The floor of the ship glowing purple beneath your hands.
Yeah, you see that Braxis is physically drained. His shoulders kind of slump as he comes out of it, and he relays the information that he sort of felt her presence at a small moon, Duxton, which was orbiting the planet Onderon. Though I do warn you all, this place that she has been taken reeks with the dark side. I do not know what role this girl has to play but she is of great import. And he just sort of stands up shakily and grabs some type of beverage, water, whatever, and just tries to relax.
Well, I vote that because she's a kid who's been stolen from her very kind grandmother, she's of import. Any other votes?
So basically, save the girl, save the universe.
Yeah, sounds good. Or at least save the girl.
I would wholeheartedly agree.
I
Six
don't
here.
know that I'm as cavalier about this as the rest of you, but I can get us there.
You don't have to actually be cavalier, you just pretend. Haven't you heard of fake it till you make it? Besides, you don't think Braxis is really this grumpy all the time.
So yeah, set in the appropriate course for Onderon after figuring out where it's at, because I probably never had a diplomatic mission that direction. So
All right, so we're going to need, what is it, navigation? I think it's no
Astrogate.
astrogation. That's what it's called under mechanical. Let's get one of them.
$11.
Okay. Yeah, Onderon is not a it's not an out of the way place necessarily, especially not compared to some place like Camino or the Towhead mining station. It's a lot closer to the core. So you're easily able to find the nav coordinates to get you there, and within a moment, you're on your way, zipping through hyperspace. So before you guys arrive at Onderon, are there any preparations or last minute affairs that you guys are getting in order?
Go ahead, Braxis.
Braxis would just be sort of physically training.
So I think there's a moment where Nadia kind of crawls into the cockpit and slings herself across the chair next to Sixer. You still have that thing, right? The little crystal-y dealy?
I have it.
Okay. I don't do this dark side, light side, whatever, but if we're going to a place that's dark, yeah, I don't know if there's a more secure place to put that. That's on you. But keep that under lock and key or some droidian version of it.
So Sixer just pats the left forearm of his. It is safe inside here.
Yeah, but if I hit these three things, and she like punches right around your shoulder, and your arm starts to disconnect. Like, huh?
It's a possibility.
Just saying, arms, even flesh arms can come off. So
Oh, I am very well aware.
okay.
If this place is as dangerous as Braxis has indicated, it may mean that we do not all leave. If that is the case, and I tell you to run, please just do so. You should go speak to the others and try to make them feel comfortable also.
Yeah, I'm great at pep talks. But you don't
I
do
would
any
not put it
hero,
on my resume.
don't do any hero shit. And if you fly this ship out of here and I'm not on it, there's a place on Coruscant. I'll write it down. There's a place on Coruscant I need you to keep track of.
Okay. So as far as preparation goes, Jeremy, I am going to rig the gift so that were someone incapable of piloting able to get back onto the ship by engaging autopilot, it would only take them to Camino. Like they would not be able to override it without having to hack past my security. I imagine like diplomatic ships maybe have like a failsafe for something like that. If a diplomat's injured, that the ship can autopilot back to their homeworld.
Yeah, I think
And
that makes
so
sense.
basically, I would just be changing the definition of what homeworld would be for this particular ship at the moment.
Yeah, especially because it's your ship. You're used to the inner workings of it and all of that. I would say that's not a problem.
I think you would find Casa in the med bay, doing that whole weird organizational thinking of the future, worrying and talking to himself all at the same time. If Nadia was going to go around talking to people, she would probably come in at that right moment where he's like saying stuff like, I did body parts for the family, but now it's gone. Now I'm broke. So that's a good thing, right? No, maybe. Yes, maybe. Yeah, okay. So we got to figure this out. We save the girl, save the universe, save your life. That's it. It's got to be. It's got to be. As he takes a part of the med bay pieces and reassembles and puts it back exactly the way it was. And he just does this over and over again. And then he eventually restocks himself too. But he's just in this constant state of arguing with himself and convincing himself that everything is good now.
Nadia's like leaning against the doorway. Oh, well, OCD there, Casa.
But, oh, hi. Yeah. Well, I have a new life.
Hey, a new life doesn't mean it's the easy life.
A lot better than where I came from.
That's all you got. That's all you need. If where you are is better than where you were, then you're a step closer to where you want to be. Okay?
Okay.
Don't freak out.
Try not to. Breathe deeply.
At this point, Cap's either in his quarters or in the common room. He's become a chimney with the death sticks, trying to drown out the dream that he had. It's 2-3 within an hour or so. I'm not sure how long death sticks actually last.
So that point, Praxis would attempt to meet up with Sixer in the cockpit, and as he sort of walks in, Sixer, do you have a moment?
I have several of them. We are still at a distance from the moon.
I wanted to talk to you alone about something.
So Sixer just sort of gestures to the co-pilot's chair.
So Praxis sits down and I didn't tell everything to the rest of the crew regarding what I saw. There is a very powerful dark side presence watching over that girl, the likes of which I'm sure none of us has ever come across. I'm telling you because out of probably all of us, you're the most logical and reasoning entity aboard this vessel. The others will probably panic or hesitate to do what is needed to be done in order to save that child.
Don't worry. If it comes down to killing you, I will.
I feel that all of us will be needed for this battle at our full potentials. I have come across an item that might help me utilize that crystal. And you have my word. Once this battle is done and the child is free, if you ask for it back, I will return it. We are going to need everything that we have at our disposal, or we will all die.
See, you see a small panel on Sixer's arm open up, and there's this faint red glow, perhaps muddied a little bit by a bluish glow that is his own internal workings. And then the panel closes. This will require some consideration. Speak with me when we arrive at the moon again.
Hopefully we'll decide before we disembark. There's no telling what might be waiting for us. Force users have a tendency to know when others reach out to them. They might already know that we are coming.
I appreciate the heads up.
And with that, he walks out of the cockpit.
So you see, like Sixer like pops the panel and takes the small, crystal out and sort of like rolls it between his mechanical fingers. This seems like an awful amount of trouble for a little girl and a little rock. When he puts it back into his forearm.
So you continue on for a few hours as this tunnel of light streaks all around you. You make peace preparations, whatever you want to call it. Old Cap, you run dangerously low of death sticks yet again. You get the notification, Sixer, that you're nearing the destination of Onderon and will be dropping from hyperspace within moments.
All right, so I flip on the comm, and in just a moment, we will be arriving at the destination. If there is anything else that you need do, please do it now. And then meet me in the central room.
Praxis heads to the cockpit.
So you would be coming that direction as Sixer is coming the opposite direction. Sort of setting the ship to just orbit for right this second. This way, Praxis. Come with me.
So I go with them as we have gotten closer. It grows stronger. I can feel it almost reverberating from that planet. Have you finished your contemplation, friend?
In such a manner, yes. So I imagine about that time everybody else is walking into the central room. Braxis has requested that I give him the crystal. I am inclined to do so.
Why?
I efforted to not alarm you all because I wanted us to go in as high-spirited as possible.
How about we go in with as much information as possible and you stop keeping secrets, okay?
It is my assumption that the reason the girl is brought here is this is a focal point for the dark side. Meaning that it is likely that Braxis is not the only Force user we will encounter. At our last attempt to rescue this girl, we failed miserably against some house guards and a few retired, overweight soldiers. If this does stand to be more of a challenge, it is best that we are as armed as possible. If Braxis can, in fact, use the crystal to aid us in the rescue, that would be a positive. And were he to betray us, that was only a matter of time. Better get it over with now.
So you want us to have no hope of killing him if he betrays us by giving him a kyber crystal?
I am not sure that you entirely understand how the crystal works.
No, not really, but
He will use it to forge a weapon. The weapon does not grant him immortality. It is a lightsaber, not Excalibur.
technically he could name it Excalibur, but that's beside the point.
Yes, very much so.
Well, I vote no. Cap? Casa?
As Sixer put it, we did get our collective space asses handed to us.
In pieces.
But they weren't just some overweight. They were a crime syndicate. I would rather go in full strength. Plus, Sixer's also right. It doesn't mean he's immortal. He's just a little harder to kill.
Yeah. We are adding the dark side to the Polos family. I say yes. Give him the crystal. We need all the help we can gather.
At about that time, the ship sends a notification over the PA system. You feel the ship lurch. You exit hyperspace. Anyone who gets to a window, you can see the forested, jungled surface of Duxon out the window, looming very close to its planet Onderon. So close, in fact, that should you check the scanners, they will show that they're sharing an atmosphere at the moment. Braxis, the sensation that you have been getting this entire journey is amplified beyond measure. The dark side there's not a presence of the dark side on this moon. This moon is a dark side presence. This is probably the strongest pool of the dark side in a location that you have ever experienced. This is the largest of 4 moons that orbit the planet of Onderon. A small bit of trivia that comes up on the scanners is that this moon is also known as the Demon Moon. The moons aren't the only thing that appear to be in orbit around Onderon. Orbiting the moon itself is a large ship. Nadia, you saw this exact same ship less than a month ago. The ship is known as the Grinning Nexu. If you would, please, tell me where it was that you saw this ship last.
So, Nadia saw this ship in passing, but it was close. It was a slave ship. She really doesn't like that it's here. The last time she saw it, they just snagged a whole mess of people off the moon number 8, whichever one it was. They all run together. The faces, the people, the ships. She remembers the screams. She remembers hiding. She doesn't like this ship. She wants to blow it straight to this hell moon.
The rest of you, as you notice this other ship floating in orbit. Nadia, is this information that you have shared with anyone else?
And she'll see it and go, weird coincidence to have a slave ship here. Don't you think? Because that is a Trandoshan slaver.
Remember what Master Skywalker said, that there's been a series of Force-sensitive abductions. These beings are probably the Force that has been tasked to find them.
Well, they sure get around. There's no telling how many people are on this planet, moon, whatever.
So where do we start?
Can I feel like a focal point of the dark side energy, the temple that was alluded to before?
So it's difficult to completely pinpoint because of how much of a presence there is on this moon. It's almost like it's shrouded in the dark side. But you have kind of a general pull to the specific area that you can see as the moon kind of orbits and you kind of rotate around. You're able to kind of basically get a strong sense of that dark area there, which you're easily able to on the ship kind of draw up coordinates for a landing point somewhere near there. While this planet is not inhabited, it has been thoroughly scanned and kind of surveyed. But it's been thousands of years since it's been updated.
We'll be looking for a temple, probably overgrown by the jungle at this point.
That's a start.
I'm assuming there's like a holographic display map of the planet. Braxis points to a general area and turns towards Sixer. Sixer, do you think you can get us there as stealthily as possible to avoid the Transocean slaver ship and their sensors?
I could make an attempt, but this ship is not equipped for stealth. Jeremy, I know you said it's a overgrown jungle planet for the most part, yeah?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
topographical like scan of the planet, is it pretty flat? Are there nice rises and ridges? Is there
There's
anything
quite a bit.
topographical to it?
Yeah. There's quite a bit of elevated features. Very steep kind of mountain ranges, almost like I don't know the name of the place, but in China, where these like super tall, very narrow, forested mountains just kind of up and down everywhere. So there's certainly plenty of features.
All right, I'll try and enter the atmosphere on the far side of one of these taller escarpments to be able to try and, if not mask it from sensors, at least mask the ship from a direct line of vision. And then without, hopefully not running into trees, but as close as I can, following the actual topography to get us to our landing point.
Okay. So
one last
you kind
thing.
of make your way. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Sixer. The crystal.
I hand it to you.
So as everybody's preparing for landing, I'll sort of head off onto my own to try and affix it into this device I was given before.
You begin your descent into the atmosphere on the far side of the moon of Duxton. Before long, the lush, verdant planet stretches out in every direction that you can see. These sharp rises and deep valleys make navigating tricky to do so at such a low altitude, but with much practice at the helm, Sinister manages it. As you make your way closer and closer. And this is where we're going to take our break. So, 5-10 minutes, refill your drinks, go to the bathroom, kiss your spouse, smoke them if you got them, etc., etc. And we will be right back to finish up the last half of the third episode of this trilogy campaign. Hello, hello. Welcome back. Give everyone else a few more minutes to trickle in before we get started again. Thank you very much if you are tuning in to watch live with us tonight. And thank you also if you are tuning in the future. Hello, future. This has been a lot of fun. Again, Star Wars has always been something that's very, very special to me. I've been a fan of Star Wars most of my life. And I've always been very nervous about running Star Wars as a system or as a setting for whatever reason. So it's been fun to get into it and kind of give it a try.
I think it's a better time now with the new movies coming out because the fandom's having a chance to expand again, and you don't have as much rabid fandom.
I don't know if I would say that because there's still a lot of Star Wars fans are some of the most passionate fans that I've ever seen. I'll just put it that way. For better or worse. But yeah, I think because maybe they're somewhat numb from fighting and screaming and yelling at a lot of the the stuff that's being put out officially. So, although I personally have liked most of it.
I went back and rewatched Last Jedi.
Yeah, I have not gone for a second watch through on that one yet.
It helped understanding a little bit more better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the way that I felt with The Force Awakens after it came out on Blu-ray or whatever, and I was able to watch it again. I liked both of the movies, but there is definitely that fanboy part of me that sees something different in it. It's like I don't know at first. And I have to stop and kind of distance myself a bit, and then kind of reevaluate it. And then it's usually a lot better. But then again, I know people are going to hate me for this, but I didn't hate the prequels all that much. Like, they had some bad stuff about them, but it was cool to see Star Wars kind of expanded.
Always separate myself from those things. It's just like, this is a movie. I'm focused only on the movie. Nothing else matters. And it usually turns out pretty good. So, stuff that people are like, oh, awful. I'm like, what? It was pretty good.
That is the way to do it. That's how I tend to approach movies, is for enjoyment. And I try not to think too hard, and I try not to listen to people who analyze in depth, because I just want to sit and enjoy a movie.
See the Rian interview with comicbook.com where he tried to compare the backlash of Last Jedi with what Empire got when it first came out.
Yeah, I bet that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, Star Wars fans are adamant about not ruining the classics.
Yeah, I've got some friends that are I will never see another, Disney ruined everything. So
Yeah.
I actually like Force Awakens. I thought Force Awakens was really good. I like the direction it was going. I wasn't a big fan of Last Jedi. Not going to hide that fact. In and of itself, I think it was a standalone movie. Yeah, but I just didn't. There was a lot of stuff that just seemed intensely extra that didn't need to be, and some things were done that I just wasn't a big fan of. But we'll see what happens with the new one coming out. I'm super hyped.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, even the classics, the original has things about them that I would have rather not been in there. So I'm able to find good and bad in a lot of the movies that I watch.
Well, so case in point with Last Jedi, like if you take out the entire casino story arc,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whole finding the hacker guy. It's like you could completely remove that and lose nothing from the movie.
Maybe it'll come around, and maybe there'll be dividends in the third one. We'll have to see. All right. It sounds like we have everybody back just off camera for a moment, so I think we can go ahead and get started, as long as you're okay with that, Taylor. Just give me a thumbs up. I'm just kidding. So, all right. You rocket your way through the ever-increasingly dense jungle of the moon of Duxton. As you are coming in low, it just so happens that you passed between the rotation of this moon and its very close planet of Onderon, throwing you into an incredibly dark, deep shadow. Just as you are flipping on your lights to narrowly miss several copses of trees that have risen up suddenly, you spot where you wanted to land. Small area that's not far from the river. It looks like it probably is maybe an annual floodplain of some kind. It's just grass here. You come in, swing around the ass end of the gift, and are able to set it down in this grass. What do you do?
So, what is our next move?
I think it's to find that temple we've been talking about. Save the girl.
And possibly save others if they have more of them.
So I haven't rejoined everybody yet. Have I succeeded?
So through the course of flying and landing on this planet, you have been able to fit this kyber crystal into this container, this holder that you were given by Nikit.
Is there a power button?
Okay, so some of what you needed in order to finish building the lightsaber, a lens, a power supply, things of this nature, you would have been able to locate on the gift. You may have had to cause something else to not function properly in order to have them. So I'll leave that to you.
My bad, guys. I need Sixer's eyeball cover. Don't ask any questions. I'm totally going to fucking rocket raccoon this guy. But yeah, I scrounge around and find the pieces that I need that will work.
Absolutely. So, Sixer, as you're landing, you keep getting this strange notification telling you that the landing gear is not working. You can see it. You've checked it. It's deployed, but you keep getting this notification.
So I just tap 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 tap. Hopefully, that does not prevent us from leaving.
So despite the notification, you feel the ground beneath your ship as the gift comes to a rest.
Well, we are here. Good luck to us. I suppose we must wait for Braxis.
So yeah, Braxis joins the group, and as Sixer's saying the whole "good luck" line, and he turns to Sixer. Luck will have nothing to do with it. If we're going to defeat whatever is here, it will take all of us.
I suppose, statistically, luck does not exist. Still. And so, yeah, Sixer will go over and put on his little leather jacket and grab his blaster.
Sixer. Sixer, as you grab your blaster, you kind of push it down into the holster. And as you do so, the entire ship kind of
My apologies. Wait, that wasn't me. And yeah, so Sixer will you hear the whoop, 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 whoop of his mechanical legs as he goes hauling back towards the cockpit so he can hit the scanners and try and see hopefully what is tectonic activity and not something very large coming towards us.
So let's get a sensors roll.
Yeah.
And the gift has a 1D in sensors, so it'll add an extra die to your roll.
Alrighty then. All right, well, there goes all my rolling for the evening. 26.
So you send out these kind of sweeping scans of the immediate area. It's difficult to get much of a reading at all. The jungle around is so dense and just packed with life and movement that it's difficult to discern much, but it doesn't look like very far away to the north, which is not quite the direction where you're heading. There's something big, something very, very large that seems to be moving not towards you, but kind of across your scan area. All of you feel the ship kind of lurch and shake with each of these rumbles.
Sixer?
What is that?
I didn't do it.
Okay, but what is it?
It is very difficult to tell from here,
Is
but
it
it is large.
is it coming our way?
Not at the moment.
Give me hypotheticals.
A 65-foot crocodile.
And what's the probability on your hypothetical?
We are on a jungle planet. Rainfall is heavy. The foliage and fauna are immense. It would make sense that the planet has evolved in a manner allowing...
Over or under 50%?
The ship is shaking when it goes boom, boom.
Right.
Can I tell if it's like a living entity that's out there, or if it's mechanical.
Okay, give me a roll. Again, it's going to be really difficult because the jungle has so much going on here. And the planet itself is, again, just this immense source of dark side energy.
Okay, so I have 2 character points remaining. I'm going to spend one of them to add a die to this.
Okay.
Ooh, 3 5, so 15.
Excellent. Okay. So you kind of reach out once again. You don't believe that this is something that's living, that this is organic. You think this is mechanical.
I'm going to head up to the turret and kind of look around with that to see if I can see anything off in the distance.
Again, even kind of with the direction that Sixer was able to give you, you kind of, are scanning that area, and it's not very far before you lose complete visibility. The canopy in this jungle is just, it's a jungle. You don't see maybe more than half a mile before you can't see anything at all.
Regardless of it being a giant crocodile, I hope it is living. Because if it is not, it's probably not natural to this planet, meaning someone brought it here.
It's not alive.
That sucks.
Do we need to move?
If we were to move, it would definitely give away our position. It was not moving directly in the same direction we are going. If we move quickly, perhaps we can bypass it. But we should go now.
Let's go then.
Here,
It pains every part of my robot body to say this, but Braxis, you'll have to show us the direction.
Very well then. Let's move.
you gather what you hope you'll need, and you disembark, heading on foot into the jungle of Duxon. Shortly after you have left the ship, you hear a tremendous splashing noise ahead of you, off to your left. There's thrashing of some kind in the water, but the shaking has stopped. The trembles in the ground have ceased. The sound appears to be coming from maybe a mile or so off to your left. And you find that as you're making your way through the jungle, you're steadily getting closer to it. Almost like you're on these two paths that are eventually going to cross with one another. And whatever this is moving at a pace that is slightly slower than yours, but not enough that you're going to be able to completely cross the path of this thing and be unseen.
Nadia, do the Transoceans have a walker?
I've only seen them on ships. Not so much with the walkers in the space. They have speeders.
Knowing what it is not going to change the direction we must go. Which way should we go, Braxis?
So yeah, I keep pulling us towards wherever I feel that this temple is located.
Okay. Do you want to try to press your pace and try to beat this thing across the place where your paths are going to intersect and hope that you're not seen? Do you want to hold up and wait and try to hide for it to pass before you cross?
Given our current trajectory, we're going to cross paths with whatever this is, the timing of which we're going to have to decide. Are we going to try to race it there and get through before it arrives? Or,
Nope, foliage is too thick. We wait it out.
well, there you go.
No, I agree. We can wait it out, see if it's something we need to take care of, or just let it go by and keep going.
Then we wait.
Okay. As you were waiting, is there anybody who is trying to get a look at what this is? Are you trying to get closer?
I'll try and get closer under the auspice that if it is scanning for stuff, it's probably life forms and not droids, and so I would be harder to detect. And so I will, mechanically slink my way through this jungle up towards my very big brother, and see what's going on.
All right. So give me a stealth roll. It's under perception. Because of the thick, dense coverage, you can have an extra die.
So
No.
with a massive amount of explosions, I still only get a 19
That's actually pretty good.
because ones take away from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So even with the one, you managed to make your way within, again, maybe a quarter mile or so of this river, where you're able to see kind of where this river probably floods its banks and clears out some of the underbrush and things. You're able to kind of see the thinning of the jungle as you get closer to the water. And after just a moment, this enormous splashing noise kind of gets closer to you and rounds a bend in this river. And you see not one, but two Imperial AT-ATs trudging through the water of this river, making these enormous waves with each step of their long legs, their belly just above the surface of this kind of brownish, greenish water. And it looks like they've been on this moon for some time. They've got algae and vines kind of all over them. Interestingly enough, on the second one, which appears to be more of a gunship, you see two stormtroopers standing on top of its head with their, I just lost the name of them, the binoculars, whatever they're called, kind of out, kind of looking around the area. Apparently, you're not the only ones who don't trust your sensors out here.
So I'll like sort of lean back into the shadow of the dense foliage. We have a small problem, or two large ones, to be more exact. There are two Imperial AT-ATs here with stormtroopers. I take it by your silence, you are as shocked as I am.
The criff is the Empire doing here?
I said the Polos family was working for them, but I didn't know how extensive.
The Empire has been tied to the dark side before. It is not impossible for them to be doing so. Again, still. Take your pick.
Okay. Do we still go? Empire's no joke.
You can move up as far as I am without
No.
being detected, I believe.
Not. Do we still go get the kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was not an option.
Good. All right, Sixer, let us know when it's safe to go.
The estimated lifespan of a stormtrooper unended in combat is roughly 87 years. We may have to wait a while.
Sixer, let us know when the AT-ATs won't see us when we cross.
No promises.
Of course not.
It's not that I don't want to try. It is that they have been here for a while and have adapted. Not the machines, that would be impossible. But the behaviors of the stormtroopers. They are not relying on scanners.
Master Skywalker once told me of his former master, an Obi-Wan Kenobi, who used one of the Force powers for a situation like this when they were raiding the Death Star. Perhaps I could use it to make them think that they hear something off in a different direction.
It is a giant planet full of giant animals. They hear things all the time. But try if you want. We could just head further east, around them, and then double back.
Captain, it's your call.
I'd rather avoid them if possible.
Yep, let's wait it out. Or we can go further that way. And she points where the AT-ATs have just come from.
So you wait, or you head back to the east and try to get behind them before you move back towards the river. The heat on this jungle is oppressive. The sweat is running in rivulets down 4 of you, at least. But you're able to move far enough upriver, as they move downriver, to visually cut yourselves off from one another. You move back to the edge of the water, ready to cross. You found the narrowest spot of this river that you can, but there is no crossing this river easily without getting in the water. So, how are you guys handling that?
Well, I still got breath mask.
What's the distance from one side to the other?
There he goes. Sorry, my mic was not unmuting. I would say at the spot where you found to cross, it's still probably 40, 50 yards.
I apologize for this, Sixer. And I use force powers, telekinesis, to lift him up and sort of gently toss him to the other side.
Whoa, 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 whoa. We ask before we throw people.
Droids don't swim.
Still, he is a droid, and you could have asked. It's called consent. You may not have heard of it.
I apologized.
Apology is not the same thing as asking for permission.
His social interactions are troubling.
Oh, jeez.
So, Sixer, before I do it, do you interject? I didn't make any kind of roll to see how calmly he lands. Okay.
No, you're able to lift him, and with enough concentration, kind of push him over the waters and set him down more or less back on his feet. There's lots of roots. It's muddy, but you're on your feet, Sixer, on the other side. The rest of you,
I would do it for the rest of us, but I need to conserve my energy.
I'll swim.
the rest of you, this water is a river, but the current is very meandering, very slow. And this is not a pleasant swim. This water is murky. It's dark. It's the color of like not blue, but chocolate milk. And you're positive more than once that something brushed past your leg. But thankfully, perhaps with a fire or two from your blasters into the water, you managed to cross to the other side of this jungle embankment and are able to continue on towards the temple. Before long, you see the first architecture that you have seen since you arrived here. These very large stone obelisks, monoliths, rise up out of the surrounding vegetation. Though the vegetation them and grows in the cracks that exist within them, almost like it's trying to choke out these things that don't belong here, these clean lines. The lines of which you know, Braxis, are 100% Sith in origin. Is anything said as you pass beneath the shadow of these massive stone structures?
Be on guard. We are most definitely here.
Continuing on, periodically you pass some more of these ruins, these stone structures that are dotted throughout. All the while, the rest of you, other than Braxis, you feel this growing sensation kind of deep within your being. For those of you who have them, deep in your stomach. Something here is amiss. Something here is not. It's not right. It's not in balance. There is this overwhelming sense of you not being safe here. Eventually, you break through the tree line and see ahead of you in another clearing a structure that rises up out of the jungle floor, but has been cleared of most of the growth immediately on and around it. Sitting in the front face of this building is this gaping maw of a doorway, pitch black on the inside. The people that are in this picture are not there. In fact, you see and hear no one. The jungle here has even grown silent.
Well, I guess this is as good a place to start as any.
So from the frying pan into the fire we go.
Seems that way.
Well, now y'all had to understand that we were gonna get into something when you signed up, right? But the longer we stand here deliberating and jibber jabbering, that little girl ain't gonna save herself. So, Brother Braxis, if you are with me, let us venture forth once more into that dark gaping maw, and hopefully coming out with this little girl.
I hope that sounded brave.
Let's go.
Brave enough. I'll pull a glow rod.
Works for me. Might even be able to put pep talk on your resume.
So yeah, I lead the way, I guess.
Okay. You cross this cleared area from the tree line to the front of this building. As you near Old Cap, you pull a glow rod from your belt and activate it. It gives off that warm yellow glow shining off of the walls inside. This temple is gray and green with growth on the outside, but the moment you pass inside, the stone here is darker, almost black. And it has this surface shine, this polished look to it. So the yellow of your glow rod is reflected off of this kind of shining black surface as you look down a narrow corridor that leads downward at a slope. You also hear something, all of you. Moon Nilakta. Moon Nilakta. Being chanted by several voices echoing to you from
Is that by chance a language I recognize?
Maybe. Let's see.
I have dice and languages. I suppose I could roll it.
Go ahead and roll languages.
I don't technically know how that works, but
And in this situation, take one die away again.
okay. 5.
Okay.
I only have 2 dice.
So a 5 is definitely not going to cut it. So no, though you have an extensive range of languages in your database, and you have cycled through them twice now, you find no match. Do you press onward?
Praxis, do you have any idea?
Would I have come across this language at all in any holocrons or anything like that?
You know what? Roll in languages for me. But you don't need to take the die away for this.
Okay. It's a 14.
Okay. Braxis, I think when the group first heard this chanting and Sixer was trying to place it, I think there was a hesitation in you replying because you do know this language. But you haven't heard this language since your childhood. Not you growing up on Yavin 4, but since your childhood. This is a language that you heard spoken from the covenant that raised you. A covenant known as the Night Sisters.
I have heard this language in my childhood. On my home world. This is the language of the Night Sisters.
Does it sound like them specifically, or is this a different group that is part of them?
Can I tell if they're female or male voices?
It sounds like female voices to you. There might be a male voice, maybe. It sounds like there's multiple people.
It is very hard to distinguish, but there are definitely multiple people in there.
Should we press on?
The girl lies that way, so yes.
Maybe we need to stop this ritual.
Captain,
Let's press on.
Sixer, you wanted to say something.
I was just unaware that you had grown up on Dathomir.
Well, I am Zabrak.
Yes. I don't know why. I had assumed that you were from Erdonia. Nonetheless, if you say the girl is that way, then we should go that way.
So I guess we press on to get it some type of vantage point to see whatever's going on.
Are we moving stealthfully?
I would try to be.
Yeah, Nadia as well.
StreamYard is taking my microphone hostage. Okay. Can you hear me? Hopefully, yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Yep.
good. My microphone just muted and unmuted about 8 times in a row. All right, so each of you, if you would, please, or we can pick a designated roller for this. I'm going to need a stealth roll. And receiving help from your friends, I will allow you to add an extra die to it. Stealth is under perception.
I vote for group. I have crappy stealth.
I've got 4 in it.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe Old Cap's going to be the one making the roll.
Yeah, that's got me beat.
Okay.
Okay. That'd be 5 dice total.
Yes, it will.
Okay. Okay, if you roll 1, you take a dice away, right?
The next lowest one. But only if you roll a 1 on your force die.
Okay, no, I didn't roll 1 on the force die.
Okay.
That's 17 total.
17. That's awesome. Okay. So between you and Nadia, and that's probably, how the marching order kind of goes. You're able to keep everyone else quiet. And the 5 of you press further into this compound. The ramp that you were descending on eventually flattens out and opens a bit in this kind of atrium area that has a few different offshoots going in different directions. The lighting down here is dim. There's a few places that look like they were windows at some point that are mostly grown over, but have some dappled sunlight from the jungle kind of still bleeding through. And in a few places, there's just this bare minimal presence of energy coursing through some of these lights. Ahead of you, where this chanting is continuing to come to you from, is this opening that looks like it was a door at one point, a blast door of some kind, but it's long since froze open. You can see somewhere past that point the flickering of blue and purple lights. It's inconsistent and sporadic, but there's no doubt that it's there. Moving forward to this doorway, you're able to find this low spot, this place in this temple where water from centuries, if not millennia, of rain has washed in here. This layer is mostly in ruins, but you're able to see down beneath you these glowing crystals. They're kind of scattered around the room, illuminating it. And there is a group of people that are gathered in this kind of knee-high water around what looks like an altar, kind of in the center of this space, though it's askew and cracked from the misuse of this place. All of these robed figures are kind of circled around this altar, all wearing hoods and interlinking their hands with one another. All except for one who is standing beside the altar with her hands raised in the air. You can see on the altar is the body of a Kaminoan. And at the foot of this altar, there is a man. Sixer. It has been a long, long time since you have seen this face. But you remember it because this senator that you once knew eventually became one of the most powerful people in the galaxy. You know, the senator that you worked for met with Sheev Palpatine more than once early in his career. And this looks like the Sheev Palpatine of mid to late 30s. Continuing.
So, like in a sort of hushed tone, I'm not real sure how to say this, but damn, that ain't good.
Would I possibly recognize it? Being from the Old Republic days? Or not the Old Republic, that's way too far back.
You were very old.
Well,
Very
old Cap.
I think that you might recognize the face, but not at this age. Like, it's kind of one of those things where you're like, I know him, or I know someone, who looks a lot like him. But he would have been much older than he is looking here for when you saw him first.
Okay.
For those of you not in the, shall we call it, the know, that appears to be a clone of Palpatine.
That's not good.
I believe I covered that when I said, damn.
Yep. And puts our theory on a truthful path, I do believe.
I didn't realize when I said all that stuff about cloning Force users and integrating evil powers into them that I was hitting so close to the truth, but damn.
2 and 2 equals 4.
Very good.
You can see. I just got 2 questions. Where's the girl? And we probably should interrupt their ceremony.
I tap my grenade bandolier, as you all well know that the first few are stun grenades.
That second statement was a statement and not a question. But I suppose we can let it slide for now.
Yes, thank you.
This aberration, this blight on the Force needs to be extinguished.
Well, I do believe that we are all out of options for sneaking around.
All right, that's enough for me. I'll toss down a stun grenade.
Yeah, I'm gonna if I can, I'm gonna move on. As I see Cap throw his, I'm gonna throw it on the other side. Where if he's taking out one group, I'm gonna try to take out another group.
Okay, so it's kind of this circle formation around, and then at the altar, you've got this clone on one side, and the one who seems to be leading the ritual on the other. So if one of you wanted to put, one basically behind the clone and the other behind the robed figure, you could do so, and it would divide the group into 2.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Which target are each of you taking? Go ahead and get those rolls for me.
I can get the chanter group.
which leaves Palpatine for me. Clone versus clone.
Clone on clone violence. All right.
Okay, so it's
throw is under dexterity.
my specialty.
Oh, shoot. I rolled a 1 on my force die, so I got a total of 6.
Well, I did the exact opposite. I rolled a 6 on my force dice.
There you go.
Okay.
So
We only roll once this time around, right? As far as
On an explosion?
Yeah.
Yes.
okay. 19.
All right, let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. A 19?
Yep.
Okay. That is absolutely going to catch the chanter, or the lead chanter, and several, let's see, 4 additional Night Sisters.
So do I need to roll 3d6? Is there anything else I need to add to that?
Is that what it lists a grenade at? Is 3d6?
Yeah, it says 3d6 non-lethal to each target in short range. So
Then yes. Roll that 3d6. Cap,
I'm assuming I missed.
yeah. You throw yours at the same time, and yours flies, and it hits right where you aimed. This kind of little bit of a broken stone kind of column that's rising up out of the water. It hits, but then you gave it just a little too much oomph, and it kind of rolls off of the rubble and into the water. And the moment that it hits the water, you can see it kind of go.
13.
13. Okay, let's see. Okay. So several of the figures in the circle on the outside have been stunned. All 4 of them kind of, pull their hands up in front of their faces and stop chanting. But the robed figure seems to not be as fazed by it. Even though she was clearly caught within the radius, the blast, if you will, of the stun grenade that you have set off, she doesn't seem very affected by it. The other 3 of you, as these stun grenades are being tossed out, what are you doing with the surprise round, if you will?
I turn to Sixer and I say, time to find out if your legendary gunslinging is just bragging or reality. And with that, you see me force leap and igniting the lightsaber as I leap towards the lead chanter, sort of in a Ashoka Tano style, with the blade back, coming down from above, bringing the blade along the back of her neck as she's somewhat stunned from the stun grenade.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your attack, please.
All right, so that's 46 for the melee.
Okay.
That is 4, 8, 3, 11, 15.
Okay. You come down from above, this weapon held reverse grip. And as you do so, in the last possible moment, she turns and is facing you, catching the blade of your lightsaber with one of her own. As she regards you close, her hood falls open, and you can see her eyes glow with the telltale red and yellow of a Sith. Who are you?
Let us say, one who does not follow a pitiful excuse, a copy of something that once was.
You know nothing, you worm.
We shall see. Cue
Okay.
legendary gunslinger.
Dude, trying to get this thing to unmute is
Yeah.
so as Braxis leaps towards this chanter, I don't think Sixer has broken like his gaze on this this senator. And if you could see into his head, there is just this replay of another senator being shot to a point of collapsing and then beaten by some hired thugs while Sixer was effectively unable to do anything. And there's this feeling that goes across him of anger that the senator like this one could have a second chance at being around, but that his friend, his master, could not. And so for the first time, you see Sixer reach behind him, and from underneath of his coat, he pulls out a second blaster. And I'm going to take 3 attacks, so all of my attacks will be at -3 dice. -3, right? Because you get -1 for every action you're taking.
It's everyone beyond your first, I believe.
Oh, okay, cool. That makes it even a little bit better. All right, so all my attacks will be at -2.
Yeah.
And I will use my luck edge for this. So when I use a character die or character point, I will be able to roll +2 dice instead of +1 dice.
Nice. Okay.
So my question is, I would assume normally with character dice you're limited to 1 per action, but is that first gun is 1 action, second gun is 1 action, other gun is another action, or is it 1 character point for this sequence of actions? I don't know.
That's a really good question. I would say per action. Let's
Okay,
just go with,
because you're nuking your own XP.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to attempt to put 3 blaster rounds into the clone of Palpatine, while moving in this menacing pace towards him, sort of, as the rest of the combat goes on around him, like in the prolonged picture, you would see these bodies of these chanters falling around as Sixer is just walking towards him, just shot after shot after shot. So let's see what we can do here.
And as you're kind of stalking towards him, you find a staircase that kind of goes down from the place where you were. This kind of sweeping, what was once probably a very elegant staircase, is now just kind of crumbled ruins. As you're kind of making your way down here, just shot after shot, he's like bringing his hands up. No, please, no. This is a misunderstanding.
Okay. The first shot is a total of 10.
Okay. That's good. That's a hit.
Okay. If that's the case, then they will all 3 hit because it's a 10, a 14, and a 33.
Yes, absolutely will.
And so, yeah, as Sixer sort of paces towards him, there is this Now, I'm not quite certain who it is that you think, blow, that you are, sir, blow, but I have known better men, boom, than you that deserve to be back. And so I will, what is it, 3 dice for damage?
And again, the whole while he's pleading, no, please, I beg of you, please, save me from these evil people. They convinced me to come here. They've tried to alter my mind.
Oh, that might be true, but I don't care. Are we exploding damage dice, but only one time? Is that correct?
No, it does not explode at all.
All right, cool. So the first shot's 9 points, the second shot is 9 points, and the third shot is 12 points.
Okay, so his soak is a 6. So that's 3, 3, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's 3 times his stamina. Okay. He begs for his life. The first shot takes him down to his knees. He splashes into the water in this finery that he's wearing even further. And he reaches out and holds onto the leg of this poor Kimonoan girl that's on this altar, tries to steady himself. The second shot sends him staggering several steps backwards, kind of found more upright. He reaches his hand out. No, please. And your third shot catches him. He falls backwards.
And you, sir.
Go ahead.
And you, sir, can tell my master that he is missed.
This smoking blaster hole in his forehead is evident as he falls backwards, spread eagle, into this fetid water, splashing everywhere. The woman on the other end of the altar, who is clashing red glowing lightsabers with Braxis, hisses out, "No! Damn fools! I'm sorry, Master. I have failed you. I have failed again." Nadia, what are you doing?
While this woman, what used to be a woman, is facing Braxis, Nadia pulls out her one remaining blaster and begins firing. And she'll take 2 shots. I'm going to need more dice for this. So for multiple shots, I reduce the dice by 1.
So for each action that you take, all of them diminish by that many past your initial action. So if you're taking 2 actions, then all of your actions will be -1 die.
Okay.
If you're taking 3 actions, then all of your actions would be at -2.
Okay. 6, 10, 15, 19 for the first shot. 6, 10, 13, 15 for the second.
These are both at this woman, the red-eyed Sith?
Yes.
Okay. Deftly, she maneuvers her lightsaber and deflects both of these shots, causing them to become errant.
Nadia continues to walk forward, keeping her blaster trained on this woman, splashing through the water, aiming to reach the Kimonoan child.
All right. So the surprise round is now over. Your cover has been blown the Night Sisters know that you are here. So we are going into our first full round of combat. I think you all roll perception rolls. We're going to go with that to start. While I search for the information.
It is in fact perception.
Hey, check it out. Go me.
Do we use the force die on that, or is that just a straight roll?
Oh, hang on just a sec. If a character initiates the combat, such as by shooting first, they automatically go first and don't roll to determine. So since you guys had a surprise round, that means that you get to go first in the initiative order. So the 5 of you will get to go before they have a chance to act. So you got the full-on jump on them. So go ahead and decide whatever turn you want to take this, or whatever order you want to take this turn in.
I can go if y'all are however you want to do it. Okay. Almost methodical, almost robotic. You see Casa jump down quickly and run over to the stunned priest. Go down and do some kind of medical thing to him, and you don't know what happened, and he moves on to the next one. At the very end, to the last one, you see him pull out a laser scalpel, ignite it, look down, and then he stops, looks back up, and says, "That was my old life, not again," and put the scalpel back up. And that's what I do. And if I need to roll, I can. I've got a 5d6 on medical.
This is, you're trying to heal the...
Oh, no. The exact opposite. What I would normally do in my old life is basically throw the stun grenades, stun them, go in for the death kill, and then harvest all their organs and stuff.
Okay. So you are attacking the Sith?
No. The 4 that I stunned.
Stunned? Okay, got you. Now I'm on board. How many attacks are you making?
All 4.
Okay, so each one of these attacks, you'll have to make 4 attacks. Each one of these attacks will be at a -3 dice.
-3 dice? Okay, so 1d. So do I roll just my... Okay, so 3. So I got 5, 1, 2... Okay, never mind. Okay, first one is a 4. Second one, 7. Third one is a 10. Ooh, and the last one is 2 1s.
Use character points.
Oh yeah. So character points is extra die.
Extra die. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the last one's a 3.
Okay.
Because 2 1s cancel each other out, right?
Yeah, they would. Because it would take, if it's one of them is your force die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you missed the first, but hit with the middle 2. And then, of course, you missed the last attack. So go ahead and roll damage for those middle 2.
Okay, so what would that be?
Your scalpel, essentially.
Okay.
I guess that would be a knife, which I think...
Don't know if I...
Combat knife's a 3D.
It's a D. It's 1D plus your strength dice code.
1D plus strength.
So how many dice do you have in your strength?
Strength is 2.
Okay, so yeah, you'll roll 3 dice on the
Okay,
damage.
and no force dice, right?
No, you can roll it, but it doesn't do anything.
Okay. So the first one is 12. And the next one is a 6.
Okay. So that one, the one that you got the 6 on, you managed to basically just maintain her stunned condition. So she's kind of starting to come out of it, shake her head, and as you run past, you kind of slice her kind of on the side of her neck, and she kind of reaches up and is kind of frantically grabbing a hold of her neck, but she seems a little dazed. But she doesn't seem like she's dead. The first one that you managed to hit, you actually cut her bad enough that she falls down into the water. You don't think that she's dead, but you think that she's unconscious and is likely going to drown if she doesn't wake up.
Okay. That's it.
All right, who's next?
I can.
I can say Old Cap's instincts are kicking in to keep the way clear, and he's just going to start trying to pick off some of the ones to make sure they have a pathway back up to the stairs. So I will be shooting. How many are there in total? That's one thing I haven't kind of got in my head.
Okay, so there at the beginning were an even dozen, not including the two figures in the center.
Okay.
So there are still 11 that are kind of up and fighting, if you will.
I'll go ahead and use a character point, and I'm going to shoot at the two that Casa missed. So I'll just be down one dice, right?
Yeah, if you're shooting twice, yeah, each one of them is at a minus die.
Okay. Uh, 10 on the first one.
Okay.
And 11 on the second.
Okay. Yeah, those are both hits.
Okay. And then I have a carbine, which is 5D. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 total on the first one. And 14 total on the second.
Okay. Both of those as well, you managed to stun them, but not mortally wound them. So their stunned condition will continue. The fourth that was initially stunned by the grenade is unconscious. The rest will be acting as normal as of now. So that was the second hero turn, if you will.
Sixer's going to grab the girl off the table and start running away with her. That's my action this round.
So now, if I get this right, on my first action, it's normal dice. Second action, it's subtract 2 dice, right?
No, you subtract the dice for every you take. So if you're doing 2 actions, it's -1 die to both actions.
Correct. Yeah, at the beginning of the round, essentially, you determine how many actions you're going to take with your turn, and each of them is going to be at the same deficit.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to take 1 action then. And as I see the Dathomir Witch turn away from me towards the oncoming blaster bolts from Nadia, I sort of incredulously look towards her. You dare turn your back on me? Like all Dathomir Witch's, pride will be your downfall. And I'm going to spend a character die to increase my melee attack roll to 5d6. Force die exploded. It only explodes once, though, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's a 27.
Okay. She looks at you as you chastise her. She says, "Pride is a source of power. You would know this if you had been born female." But just as you hear this escape her, she tries to bring her lightsaber back around, but just she misjudges the angle of your attack, and instead of colliding perpendicular with your blade, it's at enough of an angle that your blade is able to slide downward and make purchase against her. So go ahead and roll your damage.
All right. And I'm going to spend a force die to double this.
Okay.
Because that's this bitch. So does on damage, does it explode? The force die?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Still a really, really good roll. So that's 60.
60?
Yes.
Good God. Okay. She has a massive soak of 17. So that's going to be 43, I think, which is definitely 4 times her stamina bonus. So, yeah, what does it look like as you finish her off in this moment?
Double the pride, now double the witch, and double the fall. As I splice her in twain. There's now 2 of her. And that was pretty much that.
There we go. Okay. So this Force Witch, cleft in twain, falls into the waters of this room. The rest of the Night Sisters howl in anger, maybe shared pain of some kind. The rest of you, if you would, each one of you, describe to me how a scene of your escape. Each one of you. How do you escape the rest of these Night Sisters with this Kaminoan in your grasps?
So I think Sixer stands for a moment briefly over this dead clone of Emperor Palpatine. And then he hears a whimper from the young Kaminoan girl. And that jolts him back to reality so hard that he just drops both of his blasters and turns and scoops her off this stone table. And he tucks her head up against his metallic form, spreading his fingers as wide as they can go to sort of cover her head. And as he cradles, he just runs through the water, stamping on bodies of stunned Night Sisters. And it doesn't matter to him. He's moving towards this exit. And I think the camera might catch this really
awesome shot where, as the combat is going on around him and these bodies are falling to the ground and his companions are covering his retreat with this girl, we can see this water that has splashed up onto Sixer's face, and it's flowing down from his optical sensors almost as though he was crying as he's moving this girl out of this this room and trying to book it back up this this passage.
The camera pans over Sixer's shoulder to the back of Nadia, retreating, walking backwards through the water, blaster firing against these witches, these women, knowing that Sixer has the child and trying her best to protect them.
Yeah, there's force lightning going off, crackling everywhere. There's these women cutting at you with vibro blades, trying to give chase. Anyone else?
I'll try and, as we're leaving, be the last one leaving the room and sort of, fending off blast of their lightning with my lightsaber. And as I do, one of the bolts seems to arc into the crystal, shattering the kyber crystal of it inside the device. And as everybody else is running down the hallway, I reach out with the force and use force telekinesis to snag the Night Sister's lightsaber.
Casa would probably go second to last, throwing his grenades left and right. Stun. Since the girl gets out of the room, he throw frag. Once they get down into the hallway, he pops off both of his smoke grenades, one after the other, in hopes that, yeah. So
Old Cap's going to be right on 6 or 6, making sure nobody gets past him to try and grab the girl.
This temple, with all of the structural damage that was just dealt to it in this brief window of time, between the lightning and all of the grenades going off, the entire thing is trembling and shaking by the time you exit. And you can hear the interior parts of this compound beginning to collapse in on itself as the 5 of you, plus this Kiminoan girl, emerge from the dark mouth of this temple building. The smoke of Casa's grenades spilling out behind you as you race to where the gift waits to take you back to Camino. We see the ship grow larger as it comes out of the atmosphere of Duxton, points somewhere towards the outer rim, and then stretches and disappears. So, that's it, guys. If you'd like to leave an epilogue for your character and or an outro for yourself, we can go ahead and pass that baton around. And then we're going to call it quits. So I leave that to you.
I think at the end, Casa finally gets to meet Skywalker in person. Delivering the girl. He asked if he could have a moment with Skywalker and tells him everything. Tells him his life, tells him what's going on, that he wants a better future for himself and not the future that was dealt to him. And it's pretty much in Skywalker's hands. Insert Jeopardy music now.
I think the end of this adventure finds Sixer sitting on a stool next to a bed in this sparsely decorated kimonoan bedroom with this young girl recovering from the trauma she's just been through. And then we hear this elderly voice from out in the hall asking Sixer to be a dear and fetch the tea. And he stands up, and there's no swagger, there's no anything like that. He just moves down the hall and goes and gets tea.
So for Braxis, interject one moment. As Sixer goes down the hallway, he sees on a shelf mounted on the wall, attached to a little placard with a sort of golden plate on it that says "Trust." The shattered remains of the lightsaber. Braxis continues to struggle and try to find answers for what or who he's meant to be, not just with Skywalker, but whatever is out there in the galaxy. There's obviously still a large presence of the dark side that either needs to be stopped or needs to be properly led.
It's been several days, and Old Cap hasn't touched his death sticks. And he finally falls asleep, and he's back in that field with the little girl. She's probably 15, 16. And he just looks at her, tears streaming down his face. It's like, I finally saved one. Hopefully, there'll be more.
Nadia is it's this scene of Nadia, and she's gesturing with her hands, and you can't make out the words, but she's clearly arguing with someone. And then finally she slaps a cred stick down, and a new blaster slides across. She picks it up, turns it around, kind of shrugs, does one little spin before holstering it, walks away.
Fantastic. Well, everyone, thank you so much for playing in this game. It has been an absolute pleasure running this for you. And thank you for kind of trying to, for being patient as I tried to figure out the system as well as the issues with broadcasting. I appreciate it immensely. Patience it cannot be understated. So, all right, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching this trilogy. And until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.